Good afternoon, Eleni. Thanks for making time to talk to me this afternoon about what you do at Sani Resorts. I'm talking with Eleni Andreadis, who is the Group Director of Sustainability and CSR at this resort, which is actually 5 hotels on the Greek coast. I met Eleni at a conference about sustainable hotels, and I was incredibly impressed by what she had to say. So I invited her to do an interview with me and talk about why the hotel group has chosen to place as much emphasis as they do on sustainability. Eleni, when did the group start to operate this resort?
Well, hi, Harold, and thank you so much for the invitation. So we started to operate in the 80s, effectively as an manage the hotel resort ourselves, and the project evolved from 2 hotels at the time to 5 hotels, as you said, around a marina with restaurants in the north of Greece, in Halkidiki.
What brought the group to that part of Greece? What made it special?
Well, I'm not going to be very objective because it's where I'm from. So it was actually started as a family business. My grandfather specifically with a partner purchased the land back in the 60s and close to where the family was from. So it was a family endeavor at first. The family is still involved and are shareholders, but now we have strategic investors. So it's changed in that respect, but it's still a place that we really, really love. And it's actually a very, as I'm sure we'll talk about, a biodiverse spot that we're lucky to be hosted by in the midst of that incredible nature.
So you genuinely have local roots as a business with the community and with the landscape.
Yes, it's where I grew up. I actually grew up in the hotel, and in that nature. So it's fantastic to actually to be back and to be able to contribute, especially as part of the of all our ESG efforts and our sustainability initiatives.
Eleni, I don't usually do this, but I want just briefly to share screen because I think it's extraordinary. You go to your website and you go to the homepage and you come to a series of films, and then you'd click on the resort next, wouldn't you? And then, to my absolute amazement, when I looked at your website after I'd met you, the 3rd button down is actually sustainability, and it goes into all the details then of the different ways in which you've made the resort sustainable. And equally extraordinarily, it starts with being in harmony with nature. Now, I understand that that's come out of your family's connection with the area, but I don't remember ever looking at a resort or hotel website that had sustainability so high in the buttons you could press when you went to look at it. You obviously put this right at the heart of your business strategy. Now, could you explain why?
Yeah, it really has become integral to what we do, to how we operate, to the culture of the company. It started off, I would say, the vision was always, as I said, to place a resort in this incredibly blessed part of Greece, and to be able to preserve right from the beginning, from sort of my grandfather's time, my father, his brother, to operate in with respect to nature. And of course, this has evolved into a program. When we looked at it being an official sort of, when I started the Sani Green program, as it started sort of 15 years ago, of course we looked at the full scale of our operations, and how we can be sustainable, but also to have, and now to this day we have 3 components apart from the actual sustainability in our operations that has largely to do with our 000 goal, being net zero, zero plastic and zero waste to landfill. We also have very extensive programs to do with contributing to the preservation of local biodiversity, as well as to the welfare of the local community. We partner with over 40 organizations, local organizations predominantly, to further these goals. So to give you an example, partnering with IC is a great marine conservation organization, headquartered very close to where we are in Thessaloniki, the second largest city in Greece. And we've enabled a program to document the unknown dolphin populations in our coast. So and to make that, I should say, part of the guest experience as well. So apart from this project, to also bring this to, say, the kids club, or to enable our guests to be part of this marine biologist team. So it's really, we don't want it, and I think companies know this nowadays, it can't really just be an add-on. Obviously, it's something that permeates the culture of what we do, and I think that's why it's reflected in that way on our website as well.
Eleni, that was a very good answer, but can I just try to get it absolutely clear for people who might be listening to this interview? What would you say are the three main reasons why you adopted this business strategy?
So one, I think, is that just the ethical side to it. So it's, as I said, it's been in the family culture, and the initial vision was always for sustainability to be at the heart of what we do. The second element, I suppose, is the care and the responsibility that we take very seriously to be one of the key companies operating in that area, and being able to contribute to the local community and to have a positive impact in terms of our business. And I would say also the third component is that guests are very interested in this. So it was interesting because just before we went online, we were discussing this, and I was taken aback by the your attention to the placement of sustainability on our website, because I hadn't really thought of it, that it was something that was so novel, because we're so into our business. So I hadn't really noticed that, but of course it's something that our guests really care about, and it's something that enriches the guest experience, and it's something maybe the guests don't expect. So to be able to go to the Sani wetlands, and for it to be, or to visit the largest bee spots in Greece, as I mentioned, the dolphin project. So people don't expect really to engage to this extent with wildlife as well in a part of Europe, even I would say, of Southern Europe. So it's something that also is very appealing to our guests, and that, if I'm being honest, is also part of the reason why it's prominently there, and why we invest in this, apart from the obvious ethical implications which are at the core.
When we were talking before, I think you let slip that this is a new website, and you perhaps hadn't spent a lot of time looking at it before. I think you were slightly surprised by the prominence it had been given by your marketeer.
I'm more familiar with our previous website, but even in our previous website, I would say it was, if I remember correctly, 3 clicks away from the resort. So now it's 2 clicks away. So it was still very prominent. But now it's even more so because of all the video content as well. Even, it's so prominent in terms of the messaging. And if you like, I think what's also played a role in this is COVID, because part of our messaging also was the fact that so much of what we do is outdoors. We're blessed with a lot of space. So that's also part of, you would have seen safety also on that list as well, because of the a further reason to connect even more with nature is that we actually offer so many of our experiences outdoors, which was important during the COVID time as well, and fed into into the website as it was being developed at the time.
Eleni, I wasn't trying to embarrass you. I was really wanting to make the point that you've obviously over time increased the sustainability component within both what you're doing with the resort, but also in the marketing of the resort.
Absolutely, absolutely.
The other thing that, having watched some of the videos now, that really comes over is that experiential opportunity for the guests, for adults and children, to actually be part of that natural environment in a very unspoilt. It looks like paradise, though I'm sure that needs a fair amount of management to keep it as clean. I don't believe Greek beaches are completely without litter. I'm sure you get some washed up.
I don't think, unfortunately, any beaches in the world are without plastic litter, unfortunately. And we do spend a lot of time, obviously, in the maintenance. We're lucky that we are in a remote part of Greece, but we maintain kilometers of trails in the forest. It's a big part of what we do. We also have a lot of partnerships to be able to do that we such as, for example, the Hellenic Ornithological Association, who are the BirdLife International partners in Greece, who help us with the maintenance of the wetlands and all the signposting and all these things. So it is a big part of what we do, and a big investment from our side as well. It should be said.
It's a big annual expense, isn't it, just to maintain that kind of environment? It doesn't maintain itself, particularly if you've got access to the sea, which will always be washing up rubbish, even if it's not dropped within the resort. One of the things that struck me is that it's so much an experiential place that I'm assuming you get a fair amount of repeat business.
We do. We have a very high rate. Over half our business is from repeat guests.
And you find people coming with their children, and then presumably in the future the children will come back and bring their children.
I don't know if we've monitored this, but I'd be very interested. I have heard of a lot of stories of even 3 generations visiting us. But definitely, I think that you get we're heavy on family business. Obviously, we have a lot of families, and we definitely cater for children of all ages. Probably when kids are in the teen years, and maybe they want to go to Mykonos. I don't know where they want to go, but we still have a lot of teenagers, and certainly we have a lot of young adults coming back. And the loyalty, as well as the guest satisfaction scores that we have across the services we offer and on sustainability, are very important in terms of getting that repeat business.
So I'm guessing you get all of the advantages of sustainability for your business strategy, in terms of good relationships with the local community, high repeat business, and a lot of PR and marketing attention because of the sheer beauty of what you've achieved.
Yes, I mean, there are the challenges. As I said, overall, having the positive impact for the local community is a really big is a really big thing for us. We have challenges, for example, maybe the local hunting association, where there are parts, unfortunately, there's still a small part of the wetlands that also is home to even internationally endangered birds. Has a window period where people can still hunt. So I don't want to, paint a completely rosy picture for everything. There are obviously big challenges, and that's why we're working hard on them with long-term goals. Just to give you an idea, when we started 15 years ago, there weren't even officially started Sani Green. There weren't even recycling facilities in the local area. So we had to find ways around that. And now today we're almost, and by next year we'll be completely zero waste to landfill, zero plastic, so zero single-use plastic, I should say. So we've come a long way. There are challenges along the way, and of course there are huge benefits as well. And sometimes, you know, the economic benefits are catching on rather than leading the way, unfortunately. So looking at waste, it's only now this month actually that pay as you throw has come into effect in our country. So we've been, you know, financing our whole recycling composting project without having any benefit in terms of reduction in local taxes, because we're not throwing so many things away to the landfill. So it's a mixed bag really, but overall I would say that the benefit is huge. And that's what, you know, I'm often asked to talk at conferences and such in terms of smaller hotel groups and what the benefits are. And overall, I mean, there's absolutely no doubt that there's a huge benefit, you know, ethically, obviously, to the local community and to the business as a whole.
I guess a sort of final question from me. It's obviously a family managed and owned business. Do you think that's fundamental to why you've adopted the strategy you have? Is it because of that connection between your family and that land over several generations?
I think it is a big reason. I think it's definitely a big reason, because it was part of the family DNA and the vision. It was also, for me, it was, I studied environmental policy, and it was something that I wanted to bring back when I came back to Greece after being abroad working and studying for some years. So it's it is in many ways, I can't imagine a different, we were never sort of multinational that had standards that they would just implement across the board. We had to find ways around, creative ways around problems in order to make this happen. But the commitment has been there from the top, and I think that sort of helped us to be where we are today, where it's also now much more talked about, and now investors and banks and all the, you know, you have everyone aligning kind of behind this now. But we've been working on this for you know, for many years now, and I think that the investment that we've put into this is down to the culture of the family, I think.
And it's part of the reason you think that you're doing it for the benefit of your children and their children?
For me personally, do you mean?
Or, and for you personally, and possibly for the other members of your family who are involved with the business?
I think so, yes. For me, certainly, I think anyone working in sustainability who has children or maybe doesn't have children is very afraid of what the future holds. It's the situation is beyond urgent. I don't see, talking about biodiversity, you know, we talked about that briefly, you know, the situation is dire. So I couldn't imagine us as a profitable business in the area not doing the most that we can to help support all these wonderful organizations working towards this aim, and to see how we can help them to contribute to that. So I would say personally, for me, it's a huge motivator to keep me going, even when things look so difficult. And then I would hazard a guess that for my father, for anyone in the family who's involved with the business, my uncle and his and their partners, I would say that it's a very big motivator right from the beginning.
I think it is perhaps worth saying, I think one of the biggest problems that we have at the moment as a species is that we think very short term, and thinking about the future is not something which we're very good at, but you do still find that in family-owned businesses. And I think it's one of the reasons why they are often leaders, this kind of field, this sense that there is a responsibility to leave something for the children. You see it a lot in family-owned farms, and you see it in family-owned tourism businesses of your sort as well. Thank you very much, Eleni. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, and I'd certainly like to talk to you again. So we will arrange
Thank you,
another
Harold.
interview.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk to the people who follow you. I follow you very, very carefully. I know a lot of people in my field do. So thanks so much for the opportunity and the chance to talk to you. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.